Alright, y'all, so I'm going to make one, a whole rig. It's going to be a longer video than normal, but at least then you'll kind of figure it out. This is like a bottom drop rig for, deep water dropping. This is 2 to 5 pounds. So the easiest way to do this is to grab a line. This is your main line. This is 250 pound trilene big game. What I do is I take them, I get it to about here, and I cut it like so. And then I just take, once I cut it, I take that and I just do it again over and over until I get the ones I want. I run on in batches like this. What I do is, if you got a bucket laying around, it's a great idea to take those, just throw those in a bucket. And then what you want to do is you want to take your, I use 100 pound for my hooks. I get about 6-8 inches. I do the same thing. I cut it. You can mimic that as far as you can pull it again to the same length. So you can do it again. Of course, we're going to malfunction right now. You can do it to the same length and cut it, or you can just kind of eyeball it, pull out another 6 inches, cut it. Now, here's what I do that's a little different. It's kind of a pro tip, I guess. With my crimps, I get my crimps extremely tight. Here's what I mean. When I put my thing in here, I have to fight, and a lot of times it won't go in, and I actually have to take it. If it doesn't, it's okay. You just take it, put it in here, and you cut it at a bit of an angle, and you make it real nice and pretty, and it'll allow it to go in a lot easier. But I have them extremely tight. I leave a decent tag in. I pull it over. And the reason I do that is I don't have to crimp it 2 times or 3 times or, try to kill it. I put it in there one time. I crimp it. She don't come off. I leave a decent amount of play in it because I like for this to move underneath whenever I'm deep dropping. This isn't a swordfish or anything like that. This isn't a tuna. These fish ain't gonna rub this raw. I change these out all the time. But I take them and I do them in batches of 5 or batches of 10, depending if I'm doing 1 or 2 rigs. Then there's 2 types of swivels you can use to connect these. You have a bigger 3-way swivel, and you have a smaller 3-way swivel. I kind of explained these last time. These bigger ones, I got them because it's all I could get today. I needed to build gear out because I've got a trip in the morning. Me and some buddies are going out. But you take one of these 250 pound main line, and I'm going to use the bigger ones because it's easier to see. Whenever you put your crimp on there, I use a little bit of a larger gap, but I still keep my crimps pretty tight. One issue I've seen a lot is guys use single barrels and they run a crimp they run a 3-way that's a T more or less. It slides down it, and then they crimp a single on each side of it, and it stops it from moving. I don't like those. I get they work. They're just not my thing. I really like running 150 pound, 200 pound heavy crimps or heavy 3-ways, and I know you're going to say that's a point that they could break or a weak point or something like that, potential weak point. I get it. Line going in the water getting bit by fish is going to be a potential weak point. To me, it's all potential weak points. But the cool thing with these are, if I have a shark hit or something like that, I don't have to cut that gear off and rebuild it right there on the fly. I can cut the bad section out and I can fix it if I need to, and it's easy and quick for me. I hit them 3 times on these because these are a little bit bigger. That crimp's not pretty, but it will hold, I promise. Then what you do, you take that little 6-inch hook you made, you put it in the other side in the center. On these 3-ways, it's nice because it's forgiving. They're all the same size, so you don't have to worry about which one goes into which. Alright, camera messes with me, y'all. Put one side of your crimp in. Bring it around. Stick it in the other one. Like I said, the thing that I've seen a lot is guys overcomplicate these and they build these really crazy tight, wild, excessive rigs. I mean, build what you want to build, but if you just look for something that works, a hook, you can put a little glow squid on. I put them on there a lot. You can put a little small cheapo glow stick from Amazon on there, but you don't have to have all this crazy gear and spend an insane amount of money to build these things. They just catch fish. That's all you're doing. And that's it. It's just a little small crimp. One time over, it's real tight. It's snug. It holds. When I swordfished, we ran the same exact type line, like the same exact crimp. You get a crimp that fits really well. It's really snug. It's one time, and it's that simple. Then what you do is you're going to take this one right here. You're going to take your next line. And so we're going to build one out completely. I'll stop talking for a minute and build it. I'm going to put 5 on here. 5 hooks. Bucket. That's going to be my very bottom. 1, 2. What I do a lot is I don't put hooks on them yet. I was just doing that to demonstrate to y'all a second ago. I build them out, and then the last thing I do is go back and put hooks on them. And as you see, I leave a bit of a loop on these as well. And one reason I do that is because I like for when they're at the bottom to be able to move. I want them to, it's called laying it down. If I let slack in that, I want this whole thing to collapse. I want it to fall in on itself. I build my gear, even if, you know, nothing bites on this thing or I don't catch a shark, every 2 trips, I change them. The only reason I change them is I don't use super expensive hooks. I use Eagle Claws, but they get ugly. Here's a new one, nice and red and shiny, and there's an old one. But they're a lot cheaper, and they don't break that hard, you know, that easy. They hold up for, you know, a couple trips, which is all I run them for. I build gear to break and get ruined. I don't build it for a one-time, forever type deal. Here's 3, and I'm gonna do one of these. Just keep that salt, just keep it loose. I don't singe them down. I know guys that, you know, like tuna fish, swordfish, they're the exact opposite. You know, you take this tight, but it's not a big deal when you're doing this. The fish don't hit it hard enough to surge the line and break it. That's why. I'm going to show y'all how these work, because these are a little different. So these, one's bigger than the other if you look. This side is bigger than this side. You know, this one's smaller, this one's bigger. The way this works, this is a 95-pound breaking point. The other ones are 130. But the way this works is your bigger one, you put it in and you crimp it just like you do all your other ones. But your little one right here is going to be what your hook goes onto. So just be mindful when you're putting it on that you don't put them on there backwards. Trust me, it happens. If you do these enough, you're going to make the mistake. It's going to be a boo-boo. It's not a big deal, but just because it can happen doesn't mean you don't want to be mindful of it. I personally run the smaller ones a lot more. So the only reason I didn't is because I didn't have any from Amazon on me. So I had to run over to PSA today and buy some because I'm going out with a buddy in the morning. That's who was just calling me to find out what time's a good time to go out. I do 5 of them, and then I leave the top of the last one with nothing on it. And that's what I tie it straight onto my line. I don't do like a swivel to swivel or anything like that. I just tie a braid around it and dump her in the water. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong on that because it's social media, but okay. And I constantly recount. I like making them in sets of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's going to be 5. Same way, it's the little guys. Do is I'm going to grab up one of these. And how this works is you go to do, if you go to add one, you put your crimp on, you pull it through your line, put it on, you put it over. A lot of guys, when you're new to this, they end up doing this a lot and it hurts them. They end up doing something kind of like this, trying to figure out how it works. It's pretty simple once you kind of figure it out. Your line, your crimp, then your swivel, then you pull it back through. Make the circle of doom for fish. Now, I'm going to show y'all something on the crimp pliers, because if you don't do this and you never really play with these pliers, there's obviously different sizes, but if you look on here, I don't know if you can see this or not, it's got numbers on here. So depending on what size crimps you're getting is depending on what size they are. I have them on the back side as well, and that's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, in millimeters, and the other one's in standard, I believe. But just letting y'all know, might be the same numbers, I don't know. But either way, they got numbers on there so you know what size crimp you need to run so you don't cut your line. Because I might be able to show y'all, I don't know if I can or not, if you get a crimp that's too small, or if you over tighten this, so if I were to use the wrong size hole for this, what I can potentially do, because it's just aluminum, you can singe it down so much that when a fish hits it, it'll actually cut this line, and you'll lose fish that way. If you don't use the right size, it'll cut that. It happens. Trust me, it happens. Not so much in bottom fishing, but I've lost some nice fish, and that's how I learned. All right. Same way, we're gonna go back now, we're gonna put our hooks on. The way I do those is pretty simple. I got a bucket, that same bucket I put the line in. I start down there at the bottom. I've got the first one on, got the second one now. Same way. Grab a crimp, put a crimp on it. Pull it through. Make it tight. I'll leave a little bit of a tag, nothing crazy, but I like a tag. That way if you get some slippage, it's not the end of the world. Keep it loose here, just like you do here. You take it. Second one. Sure, when you're doing it, obviously nothing gets down in here. If it does, and you squeeze to that point, you'll cut your line, or you can cut metal real easy. These things are pretty sharp. The way these work, and the reason that these are important, is when a fish hits it, and if it goes to the other side, it can swing. And with a little luck, what these things are designed to do, when you have weight on them, is to not allow that fish to get wrapped around. So they move independently. So that way if that fish is swimming around, he can swim around and it won't wrap it up. That's 2. This is 3. I said I'm making this video because I've seen from more than one person overcomplicate building these rigs, and I mean I've seen it a lot throughout life. If you're going to go out to, you know, anything that's, I mean honestly, I drop in an 80 to 100 foot of water because I don't like cranking up 100 foot. Like you can definitely do it, especially for younger guys, but I just, you know, I don't have to. Electric reels are amazing for a reason, so I like them. But if you get out to, you know, 300 foot of water, you can forget it. There's what I was talking about. This one's just not going to go. It's not a big deal. You put it in here, put it at a corner, just cut it kind of like you would. Just think of an angle, you know, you just make that knife on it, so to speak. And I really do run my crimps that tight. There we go. And that makes it so that I don't have to do double crimps and stuff like that on my small stuff. I just don't like doing it on these smaller things. This is a 250 pound main line. I'll squish it all day. It's so thick. I don't really worry about cutting that. I don't run fluorocarbon or anything like that. If anybody's just kind of like, ooh, that's going to get expensive, it's just basic mono. Inlet view, or excuse me, Inlet Rocks. They've got it there. They got the Berkeley 250 pound. If you're over here in the Myrtle Beach area, go over there and see Ronald. It's down in Myrtle's Inlet, but good dude, good bait. He's got all the gear that you need, pretty much nothing that you don't as far as for fishing. You know, it's a lot smaller than Bass Pro Shops, but there's not just a lot of junk laying around either. About everything he's got is used by charter guys. All right, last one. Here's what I was talking about. Some guys will put like a swivel to swivel or something like that on here. You know, snap swivel to snap swivel, hook it onto the line. I don't do that. I tie that straight onto my rod. I do put a hook on it, obviously. And if one's going to wrap, usually it's going to be this one. I'm okay with one wrapping. If I were going out for, you know, like let's say like golden or something like that, where there's a, you know, a nicer, you know, fish, or, you know, a price, you know, better price per pound on or something like that, and I was going commercial fishing, then at that point I would probably run a rub sleeve on my braid, which if y'all don't know what that is, it's almost like a little rubber tube that you put on your line, and you buy them, and they're about this long, and you can cut them smaller or longer, and I would run that on my braid to stop it from chafing. That way if a fish hits and goes this way, you know, it will keep it from tearing off that braid. Because I run anywhere from 2 to, I mean, I guess however much weight I need, but usually I run anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds of lead as far as getting it to the bottom, which I run 100-pound braid, so it's not the end of the world, but it's just like that, y'all. When you get done, it's a long rig, you know, it's a long rig. And the bottom here, the reason I leave that is because that's what my lead weight goes on to. All I do is I take your weights. That's a 3-pound weight. You would do it the same way. You put this on it. Put that on it. Hook it up. I usually leave a bigger tag in because A, it's on the bottom, and B, it is going to hold some weight. Pull it down. Crimp it just like any other time. I'm not going to crimp it right now because I don't know what size lead I'm going to have to run. So, just an easy demonstration of what you would do. All right, y'all. I know that it's probably only going to get 60 or 70 views, but if you need to learn how to build a little cheap, affordable drop rig, that's the easiest way I know how to do it.